Hello and welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. I'm John. I'm coming to you today with a few tidbits of news behind what's going on in this country today. Well, wait till you hear this one. New York has decided, in their mayor's infinite wisdom, New York City is going to give each of the residents of the Roosevelt Hotel, which used to be a hotel, a prominent hotel in New York, and is now housing refugees. And the mayor, Adams, has decided that we're going to give all these refugees a debit card for $30-some $100 each on a monthly basis for a family of more than one, and $750 for a single person. So that, coupled with the fact that the government wants to give these refugees $10,000 apiece just for the privilege of, crashing through the border and situating themselves in the cities of their choice, which are sanctuary cities that are using taxpayer dollars to give away to these people because they cannot work. As I said yesterday, this is a redistricting thing that they're pulling with population, and the census will show that X amount of people live there, whether they can vote or not. It's done on the census reports. So the Democrats feel that they're going to gain an advantage by having these people mimic the population of their districts so they can get more representation and more chance of winning the Democratic ticket. Nice, isn't it? I think that the mayor of New York and his diversity cabinet should be taken to task on this. It's taxpayer dollars. You have people wanting to bail out of New York right now because of the nonsense that's going on with the Trump award and all this other things that are upsetting people in New York City, and it's upsetting businesses and real estate investors. So this continues along with the fact that Chicago is going to follow suit and give money to their refugees and pay rent or pay them money so they can rent places in low-income areas, which happens to be the black areas of Chicago that are going to suffer for this. They're coming in, waving money around, while these people are struggling. I'm sure they need to get them out of the front of the police station where they're currently bivouacked, and no one knows why that's happened. But we have two governments now, New York and Illinois, Chicago, that are in dire need, such dire need that they're going to give away free money to refugees that are laying around in hotels in tent cities that we've built for them on the tax dollars of the people that are burdened with this. When does this come to an end? It's kind of bizarre that we have this going on right now. It's almost ridiculous. But anyway, not much else going on except for the Let's All Hate Russia business that's going on inside our government offices, and people trying to make everyone that's pro-Russia feel bad about themselves because we're supposed to hate Russian people right now. This has to come to an end. The war in the Ukraine cannot be funded by us any longer. Congress is still throwing around the football on how we're going to get them more money. You have the president that says we must fund the Ukraine. Chuck Schumer, we must fund the Ukraine. How much more money can we send there that's unaccounted for? To what end? What's the solution to backing the Ukraine besides money laundering? Because I don't see one. It's not going to happen. They're not going to win the war. They cannot go up against a powerhouse such as Russia or anyone else that feels that they need to go in and fight with Russia. That's craziness. It's pure, unadulterated craziness that we're watching unfold in front of our very eyes. So once more, we've got the negative sign turned around because everything is still looming negative. The border has switched from coming through Texas because Texas shut it down. Arizona is doing probably pretty well as far as controlling their end. And now Southern California, they're pouring into San Diego. And who is it that's coming in? They've stopped over 150 Chinese nationals that are coming in. A reporter went down the line of people that came across seeking asylum and asked where you're from. China, 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 China. One Ecuadorian. China, China, China. When are we going to wake up and realize that these people are being sent here and probably have been charged with doing something that we don't relish having to happen here? Inside our borders and having access to our grid, whether it's electric power, water, whatever, we're sending them to whatever cities they choose. Who tells them what city to go to? And it's the same with all the Middle Easterners that poured through the Texas openings and Arizona. These border states have been burdened to a point where a farmer, the ranchers that have cattle ranches and working ranches have had to shut down because of people just walking in. There was one fellow that was interviewed in Texas where he was standing in his living room and two people walked through the front door looking for food. You do that in Texas very often and you can end up on the wrong end of a rifle. And maybe that's what needs to take place if this continues. But we have a government that's flashing a bright green light. Come on in. And this all lays at the feet of Joseph Biden. Joseph Robinette Biden is the problem here. And his henchman, Alejandro Mayorkas, the do-nothing cabinet member that sat and lied to Congress, lied to the American people. The press secretary lies to the press on a daily basis. Then the press turns around and lies to us. This has to come to an end. And I'm not totally sure that this election is going to do it. Not unless the swamp gets cleaned out. Unless we have term limits that are put on and cut these pensions for somebody that spends a term in Congress and gets paid for life on a pension to the tune of $170,000 a year in some cases. Where in the world can you go get a job that does that for you? No wonder they don't want to leave. It's a free-for-all. Get term limits, get them passed, and get these things ironed out, or this country will not survive. They're up to something behind the curtain that we can't see, and we need to be aware of that. And here we go with more and more negatives. Nikki Haley makes the big announcement today that she doesn't care if she loses in South Carolina, her home state. She's staying in the race. Well, she's staying in the race because the Democrats are supporting her campaign. They want her in the race because they feel that they still have an opportunity to destroy Donald Trump. She is not the answer for us to get better in this country. She is not the answer for us to stop the wars that we're funding. And she is certainly not the answer to turn our economy around and bring it back to where it should be. I don't think she has answers for very many things, to tell you the truth. So we saw Joe almost trip up the stairs again. How do you trip upstairs rather than trip downstairs? But he's got it almost perfected now. Watching him yesterday, and the gaffes continue on a daily basis. This is a man that the special investigator says that he cannot go to trial for the crimes that they have registered against him because he's too feeble and too forgetful to be able to be tried. Well, then why in the hell is he still in the White House, sitting in the Oval Office, making decisions and having the football in his hand with nuclear codes? Just listen to him speak to you off the teleprompter. He can't string a sentence together. We all know that he's not running anything. Someone else is behind that curtain doing that. And we have a pretty good idea that it's Obama related. He's just trying to finish up what he started, and that was fundamentally destroying this country. Listen to him. Read his books. He'll tell you. They are in your face with everything now. You see it. You hear it on a daily basis. They're no longer hiding it. They'll tell you what they're up to. And the rhinos that sit on the Republican side and join up with the Democrats that are doing this to this country and voting along with them, this is why you need term limits. Get them out of there. Give them a pension for 6 or 7 months when they leave. That's fine. I have no problem with that. But to pay them for life and give them health insurance that, hey, how would you like to see them have the same ability to get the health insurance that we all get? Not the specialty health insurance that we give our senators and Congress people. How about if they have to live like we lived for 1 week? Do you think they could do it? No. It's a hard road to hoe to get some of these entrenched people out of there, but we have to do it. And we have to do it in the voting booth because that's the only alternative we have. And they have now figured out how to corrupt that to their benefit. And if you don't believe that that happened in the 2020 election, then you have been living under a rock. Because it comes out, and like I said, it's in your face now. They'll tell you. If anybody believes that he got 81 million votes is delusional. There were states that had more votes than registered voters. How is that possible? But no, it's all a conspiracy made up by the MAGA people and Donald Trump. Yeah, he's such a bad person that we want to persecute him, take all his money, destroy his businesses, destroy his family, destroy reputations of people that were involved with him in either business or when he served as president. Until they get that accomplished, they're not going to be happy, and they're not going to be able to cheat their way through to anything anymore if he gets in there, and they're scared silly of that fact that he could be reelected. As I've said many, many times, I'm no great fan of Donald Trump. Not because he didn't do a great job as president, but the things that he has said and come out with that should have not been said. And that's what upsets, they're all worried about the woman vote because women don't like him. That's because of the things that he comes out and says. He needs to be a little bit more professional in his speeches and his rhetoric, and then people can make a judgment based on the man and his ability to get the job done, which he has proven he can do. Things were better under Trump than they have been since the day Joe Biden stepped into that office. His track record as a VP should have been the death knell for him, but it wasn't. Because they needed him in there because he's a controllable puppet. And if you look closely, you'll see the strings. Jeff Dunham's Walter does a better impression of Joe Biden than Joe Biden does of himself. If you have not watched Jeff Dunham do Walter the President, you need to. It is funny, but almost sad in some instances, based on the fact that this is what we have. What else? We talked about Nikki Haley. We talked about the blundering cabinet of fools, diversity hires that are in there making mistake after mistake and then lying to you about the results of their mistakes while you see it for yourself now, what's going on. And for God's sake, we should not put another penny into the Ukraine. And that little dictator that's sitting over there that's canceled his elections because of a war and declared martial law, there won't be an election in the Ukraine because this guy doesn't want to leave. He's making too much money. And we're supplying the money that he's making. Stop it, and stop it now. Let them go to a negotiating table with Mr. Putin, sit down like human beings, and discuss a ceasefire and an end to hostilities, and go back to the original deal that Boris Johnson went and canceled. It's that simple, folks. But we have, over-decorated generals on the TV every day that work for the Biden administration telling you that we need to go to war. Yeah, they want to go to war because when they leave the military service, they have a job at Raytheon or one of the other arms manufacturers or airplane builders. Just look at historically. This is where they go. They're promised these jobs for pushing these deals. The corruption is out of control. We need to vote these people the heck out of there and get a reasonable person that can make decisions that are best for this country. We should be first. Why are we protecting someone else's borders when our own border is wide open with a green flashing light? Come on in. It makes no sense. It will anger any human being. It's just crazy that it's going on. Enough said. Anyway, weather was good. Hope you enjoyed the look at the dam yesterday. It was quite a hike up there. The road up there is still closed. So Kaiser and I had to take a walk up the hill, and but it was a beautiful day. The lake looked great. It's up there. We've had a lot of rain, and the sun was shining, and it was just a nice day to be out and take a walk. And as I said yesterday, get out in nature. Walk among the trees and listen to the wind whisper to you and calm yourself. Because if we don't remain calm through all the nonsense that is going on, it will make you ill. Watch the foods you eat. Watch the news you take in. Cut it back by at least 50% because it aggravates me. And if you're like me, you're going to get aggravated when you turn it on tonight because there's all kinds of nonsense going on. They had the Biden brother in the closed doors hearings today, and his opening statement, I understand, was that his brother never knew anything or had any doing with any of this and blah, blah, blah. And next week when Hunter's in there, I'm sure he'll say the same damn thing. We all know differently now. It's all out. Whether or not the Democrats can find a FBI whistleblower and make him say that he lied, it's superfluous now because just the laptop in itself should be brought up in evidence. But that has been, probably destroyed by now. And no one wants to hear it anymore. I mean, this administration can't even find out who left a bag of cocaine in the door that Hunter goes through all the time. Come on, in the White House? I understand he stays there a lot. But Daddy's the president. The daddy protects him, and he protects Daddy. And the rest of the carnival cabinet that we look at on a daily basis on the TV, it's so embarrassing around the world when you look and talk to people from different countries that say, why is this guy, a big fat guy that's dressed like a woman, telling you about your health and what you should eat and how healthy you should be. Come on. Whereas Joe would say, come on, man. Why are we listening to people like this? Why is Buttigieg in charge of transportation when he has no clue about transportation or anything related to it? Don't even start me on his behavior early on in his cabinet administration. We all know, you've all heard, you've all seen the pictures. It's deplorable. You have Karine Jean-Pierre, that gets upset when Ducey asks her a question that she can't answer, or catches her in a lie, which is on a daily basis. She just carries the flag for whatever Joe tells her, or whoever is running Joe. And then to say that he's so sharp and so focused. This is, if you run through the news channels on mainstream media, you'll hear these words: focused. He's focused. He's sharp. He's a worker. He can't be fooled. He has questions for these people that puts them on edge. The last time Joe put anybody on edge is when you have a young little girl with you that he's sniffing the hair of and telling her that she's sexy. This just recently happened. Don't tell your mama I said that. Why? Are you some kind of a pedophile? Why are you doing this? This is the man that's sitting in charge and could start a nuclear World War III tomorrow. Is this who you want in there? And what they're telling you is wrong with Donald Trump and how he's going to be a dictator and how he's going to get even with everybody. This is their fear talking. They're afraid that he's going to uncover the lid of the garbage pail that exists in the Beltway today. It's pure and simple. It's not going to get any better. We have a banking situation that's looming again. Now Discover is going to be bought out by Capital One. Do you realize that Discover and Capital One have the largest amount of charge-offs of any of the banking and credit card systems that are out there? And they're going to marry and do what? What is going on with the banking system in this country? We're not being talked to about it, except on this platform, Rumble, Truth, and a couple of other platforms that are not controlled by the White House. And I'm not sure YouTube isn't partially controlled, because I've had announcements that I've made that I've had to take off, or they've canceled off the air because I dared talk about, something to do with the arm shot, which, by the way, is one of the biggest hoaxes ever perpetrated on the world. And it was done by China, and it was done intentionally. And look what's happened since then. We went from going along with everything just fine and peaceful to the COVID wars. And now the wars against Russia. And if we don't annihilate Russia, they're going to take over Poland. That's not true. Come on. We have to wake up and smell the coffee, because the banking situation in this country is in trouble right now. And I've been warning you all, if you have your money tied up in one particular bank, get most of it out of there. You can leave some if you want, but you've got to cut your losses and diversify your cash. And if you can, get some precious metals put away and get some food put away, because we don't know what's going to happen. There's a recipe out there right now being driven by this administration that is not going to be good for anybody. And this election is a powder keg in itself. Just look what's going on. Look at the travesty of this judge in New York trying to bankrupt a man that's been the president of the United States, and a good president of the United States, by the way. A hell of a lot better than what we've seen in the last 3 3/4 years. My God, let's wake up and let's vote right, and let's research anybody that's running. Take a look at RFK Jr. He makes some sense. I don't know that Donald Trump will be on the ballot. I don't know that Joe Biden will be on the ballot. In fact, I'm expecting in August, and I will make bets on this, that they jerk him out of there and install a shadow runner for that office. And it could be what everybody's on about, that it's Michelle Obama. I don't believe that, but it's a possibility. But I think they're grooming Gavin Newsom, who has done the worst job at destroying an entire state than anybody ever has. And they're going to run him instead of Biden or someone like him. So that's a lot of choice, isn't it? But the women will vote for him because he has great hair, they keep saying. And he's so handsome. And he's so savoir-faire. Well, not really. He's a shill. And because you have nice hair and you look good, didn't you learn anything from these are the reasons they put in Clinton? These are the reasons that Obama got elected twice. So the women in this country who are on the rise, not only politically, but in the work fields, you see a rise in woman power. And I'm personally happy about that. But women have to realize that because you don't like the way Trump talks, that you rule him out or rule someone else out for a reason that they don't look as good as Gavin Newsom or have his hair is not great. These are not reasons to stop thinking. You gals out there are smart, and you know what your needs are. You know what your children's needs are. And you know how important an education is, not only to you, but your children. So let's look at these as guidelines to make a secure decision, because the Democrats are not going to fix the educational system because they rely on that for indoctrination. So I think the women of America need to rally behind someone that makes sense and will do the things that you need as a woman today to stop going from paycheck to paycheck and get better jobs and equal pay. And I'm with you on that. And I have no objection to a woman running, but Nikki Haley is not the person that I'd like to see running in that spot. There are other women that are up and coming in government and that are governors of states that have done a marvelous job in their own states and probably would bring that into the Beltway and do a marvelous job there. So let's look at that. Let's look at these people. Let's listen to these people. We need to fix some situations in this country that are destroying this country. The truckers get it. The bikers get it. Most of the working people in this country get it. But this administration is hell-bent on pushing through diversity and things of that nature that make no sense and helps nobody, and it destroys the middle class and pits people against each other. Divide and conquer should be their motto. We need to fix some things, and we need to get people on board to help with that. So with that, weather is great today. There's some cloudiness and rain coming in tonight in the Appalachians, and we're probably not going to get out very much until the weekend. I'll be back at you tomorrow with whatever is going on news-wise and whatever develops between now and then. But I want you all to have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday evening. And I've made a big pot of chili tonight. So let it get cold. I'm going to have chili and a warm fire and peruse the news and pick apart what's going on that I need to talk to you about tomorrow. And please, it's important that you take a second and hit the like button on this channel, and please subscribe to this channel. I need your subscriptions so I can continue to bring you more and more and get some people in here to interview for you. I'm working on that now. Unfortunately, it takes some monetization to do that, and I have to have subscribers. So please hit that subscribe button. And, of course, always go to the comments below and tell me what your thoughts are on any topic that I bring up. I'm happy to field that. And remember, at the Kaiser Report, we're here for you, and we love you, and we wish you to have a great, great evening. And with that, I'm going to dance on out of here. Bye now.